Benjamin Impossible. Chapter 25. Unidentified Flying Marshmallow. 2 days later, their spaceship was ready for launch. With Benjamin's help, Mama Impossible built an injection foam sprayer. Her machine could take a mixture of sugary plastic, inject hyperhelium gas, and spray the combination out as a white foam that quickly stiffened into a marshmallow consistency. The aerator was not hard to build. The difficulty was in containing the end product, as the levitating foam wanted to fly up into the clouds before it had a chance to solidify. Mama Impossible ended up testing the foam by squirting it into trash bags. After a few minutes, the foam hardened into a giant floating marshmallow, and Benjamin deemed the consistency acceptable. "Now we need to make one big enough for Lemon Time and myself to ride in," he declared. Mama Impossible shook her head. "They don't make trash bags that big, dear. If they did, I'd know about it." Benjamin pointed up at the balloon over the Red Zeppelin. "I think we are going to have to use the Red Zeppelin's balloon. We'll climb inside and you can fill the balloon with marshmallow foam from below. Once it has solidified, you can cut the balloon's ropes and we'll fly up into space." Mama Impossible looked at the giant balloon above. "That should work fine. But your father's ship will never fly again without a hyperhelium balloon to lift it." Papa Impossible overheard this. "It's okay, dear. If this plan works, it might save the world and get our little Charlie back. Any sacrifice is worth that." They flew the Red Zeppelin back out to the ocean and landed it in the water to make sure the hull was still seaworthy. Without a balloon, the Red Zeppelin would just be a boat again. Fortunately, they had plenty of fuel for an ocean voyage, and with the turmoil on the highways, they all agreed that travel by sea might be the safest route until this crisis calmed down. To gain access to the inner balloon, Benjamin built a ladder and devised a simple airlock system to bring supplies inside the envelope without losing any of the precious gas in the process. With Lemon Time's help, he suspended ropes inside the balloon, crisscrossing them until the balloon's interior looked like a spider's nest. From these ropes, he hung the supplies he would need for the mission. This included several sealed plastic buckets and Noah himself. He placed the robotic dog in standby mode and filled the dog's internal storage compartment with all the jet fuel and power bars he could find. With these preparations complete, it was finally time to launch. Benjamin and Lemon Time donned their spacesuits, and the scientists swarmed over them, checking the connections and programming their life support systems. At last, they gave the thumbs up, and the two waved at the crowd. "Well, I guess this is it, everyone," Benjamin said through his outboard speakers. "This is the maiden flight of our ship, the Marshmallow Avenger, the world's first soft-body spacecraft. Our mission is to boldly go where no kid has gone before. We're going to bust some marbles and blow that submarine out of orbit." The scientists cheered. "Good luck, son," his father said, shaking his hand. Mama Impossible cried and hugged him. Benjamin could barely feel his mother's arms through the armored suit, and he patted her back awkwardly. "Be careful, Benji," she said through her tears. "Don't do anything foolish and take care of Captain Lemon Time. Also, take this." She handed Benjamin a small baby rattle. "What's this?" Benjamin asked, surprised. "That's Charlie's security rattle. Some soldiers found it in the wreckage on Tortuga Island. He must have dropped it during the rescue attempt. It's the first toy he ever had as a baby, and he never goes anywhere without it. I want you to give it back to him when you see him up in space." Benjamin blinked his eyes rapidly. "Okay, Mom. I'll give it to him, and I'll get him back home safely, I promise." She patted him on the helmet. "I know you will, dear." The two spacesuited figures climbed up the ladder and passed through the airlock into the interior of the balloon. They squirreled their way through the ropes until they were sitting at the exact center of the balloon, suspended among their equipment. "Why are we sitting on these ropes?" Lemon Time asked over the suit-to-suit radio system. "Mom is going to pump her hyperhelium foam in from the bottom of the balloon. That foam will fly up to the top of this balloon and slowly fill the interior. We want to be sitting in the exact center of the balloon so that the marshmallow can harden around us." "Ah," Lemon Time mused. "That makes sense." Lemon Time attached a clip to a nearby rope to make sure he didn't slip, and then checked that all their equipment was secure as well. Benjamin was silent for once, much to Captain Lemon Time's surprise. Usually the boy talked constantly, and Lemon-Time wasn't sure what to make of this. "Nervous?" Lemon-Time asked. "What? Oh, no," Benjamin muttered. He held up the baby rattle that his mother had just given him. "I'm trying to figure out this clue." Lemon-Time scrutinized the toy. "That looks like a baby toy. Is that a clue?" Benjamin pointed at the plaything. "This is Charlie's security rattle. It's his favorite toy. He never goes anywhere without it. Somebody found this in the rubble of Fort Jefferson after our fight." Lemon-Time stretched. "A security rattle? Is that like a security blanket or a favorite teddy bear that Charlie liked to play with?" Benjamin snorted with derision. "Don't be silly, Captain. Charlie is a genius and doesn't need stuffed animals or baby toys. This is a security rattle. It has a compartment inside where Charlie kept his computer tools for breaking the security on computers. I thought that Charlie was a programmer. Why would he need physical tools?" Benjamin held up the toy toward the light. "Sometimes you need to open up a computer or laptop to break through its security systems. He kept a USB decryptor, Torx screwdrivers, wire jumpers, and various connectors inside this thing." Benjamin shook the rattle, but it was silent. "It appears to be empty now. Maybe he used the tools when he was inside that glass jar. I bet he needed them to build that laser he used at Fort Jefferson." Lemon-Time nodded. "That always confused me. How did Charlie obtain a deadly laser while trapped inside a glass jar?" Benjamin shrugged. "I think he must have pulled the laser from that robotic head I gave him. He probably installed it inside his favorite laser pointer, then hid the upgraded laser pointer in his diaper when the octopus captured him. When Glockenspiel dropped the hyperhelium device inside his glass prison, Charlie must have used its external battery to supercharge the laser blaster." "Clever kid. He reminds me of you. How does that rattle open?" Benjamin screwed the top off the rattle and the handle came off. "Hey," Benjamin said, surprised. "This thing isn't empty at all. There is a piece of paper in here." Benjamin plucked out the folded piece of paper. The sheet was torn and crinkled. "I think this is a piece of paper ripped off Charlie's diaper. And look, there is something written on it." In tiny letters, Benjamin could make out the word Konami. "Isn't that the cheat code your brother used back at NASA to download the security videos?" Lemon-Time asked. "What is Konami, anyway?" Benjamin pursed his lips in thought. "Konami isn't a thing. It's a Japanese company that makes video games. They invented the Atari game Frogger and the Nintendo game Contra. More recently, they created the Dance Dance Revolution games. You know? The ones where you have to jump on the lights with your feet in time with the music?" Lemon-Time shook his head. "I don't like dancing. Did Charlie play a lot of video games?" Benjamin shrugged. "Sure. I'm a better gamer, of course, as Charlie is only a baby and he doesn't have my incredible reflexes. Charlie is still pretty good, but that's only because he memorizes the cheat codes. If a game doesn't have a cheat code, he usually programs one himself. That was one of the many uses for his security rattle here. He could use those tools to pop open a game cartridge and reflash the ROM chip inside with his own software cheats." Benjamin looked down at the paper again. "But what is the significance of this message? Charlie must have written this while he was trapped in that jar and left it behind at Fort Jefferson for me to find. What is he trying to tell me?" Lemon-Time shrugged. "Search me. I think something is happening down there, though." They looked down at the bottom of the balloon where Mama Impossible had inserted her foam hose through the airlock. A stream of white liquid foam came bubbling out. This stream contained aerated hyperhelium, and the liquid shot up to the top of the balloon and splashed about them. The balloon filled rapidly, and they were soon encased in the white foam. Benjamin turned on his suit's flashlight and waved his arms. The foam was still liquid, and he could move with ease. "Lemon-Time, I recommend you wave your arms and legs around a bit. Otherwise, the foam will solidify around you, and you won't be able to move when it hardens." They both moved their bodies as the foam hardened around them. Their movement created a small hollow pocket in the center of the Marshmallow ship. This allowed them to stretch a bit and not feel as claustrophobic inside their fluffy cocoon. Benjamin bounced his fist into the soft foam and grinned. "Look, this stuff is perfect. It's soft like a pillow, but tough. These walls must be 15 feet thick. There's no way a marble is getting through this stuff." They felt the balloon lurch, and they both grabbed a rope to keep from falling over. "Looks like they cut the connections to the ship. We are now airborne and on our way to space." You've reached the end of Chapter 25. Please like this video or leave a comment. Then proceed to Chapter 26, 20,000 Leagues Over the Sea.